pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Okay, savvy investors out there, we have another great show. We're with Andrew Cross. He is a connoisseur of sorts, from entrepreneur to investor, construction, general, GC construction, painter, even some wholesale, even a promoter of wholesale. He has a meetup. His name is Andrew Cross, and how I met him, I've known about Andrew. I've seen him at the local real estate clubs, but for at least a month or so, I ran into this mother almost every other day at Sherwin-Williams. And it was so funny. I met him at a critical part in my life where for 10 years that we bought all our paint at Lowe's because we get coupons and it's fast. I can pick it up at 6 in the morning and roll to the job site. And I swore by Lowe's, and then Lowe's started getting all sketchy with me, changing their paint density and changing their name and their colors. They wouldn't match certain colors. It was becoming a disaster. And so a really good friend of mine, Greg Meach, down in Houston, is a part of a association that loves Sherwin-Williams called Lifestyles Unlimited. He's a member, and he turned me on to Sherwin-Williams, but I was overwhelmed every time I went to Sherwin-Williams. I'm like, what great. There's like 50 different brands, and from $100 a gallon all the way down to $10 a gallon. How do I know which paint? So Andrew actually kind of guided me in the beginning and then helped me fine tune it. And so I have a soft heart for Andrew because he took my calls. I'd call him random. I'm like, dude, is this really $50 a gallon? He's like, yes. Is that your cost? He's like, yes. The paint, it's amazing. So anyway, that's how I know Andrew Cross. He's incredible. He owns Andrew's Construction Remodel. He does work with a lot of investors. A lot of my friends use him on occasion to get stuff done, and he's a great guy. So he's multiple hats. So welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you, Stephen.
It's kind of cool that you have your shirt with your name, Andrew's Construction, and then you have your real name on the other side, Andrew Cross.
Thank you. And in the back, it has all our different hats on it.
Okay, great. So let's dive in. So let's talk a little bit about you are as a wholesaler, because every time I mention the word wholesaler, you get a little jazzed. Or no, let's get to that in a minute. So how in the world are you into real estate? How'd you hear about it? Why are you an investor? Let's get down to basics.
When I was 9, I decided I wanted to be a millionaire. So, I just didn't know what I was going to do, but I figured I'd be a millionaire. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it sounded like a really great idea. And my dad ran a lawn business, and we worked for a guy named Ray Pelfrey, and
Ray Pelfrey?
Ray Pelfrey, yes. We did all his yards.
Do you know he's like serious gangster?
Oh, he is serious gangster.
Midwest City. He
jacked me for my truck when I was 19. So
Man, I need to get him on here, but I used to rent from him. Anyway.
That's awesome.
So you did lawns for Ray Pelfrey.
For Ray Pelfrey.
He has like 40 houses for sale. I almost bought those.
That's
just
awesome.
Recently. He has a partnership with a judge. So anyway, I don't want to get into it before someone comes and snuffs me out. But
That's
okay,
right.
So 9 years old, you wanted to be a millionaire. Your dad and you were cutting lawns. Then what?
I saw this guy, and I was like, wow, that's what I want to do when I grow up.
Oh, that's cool. I met him too. He would look in a newspaper buying and sell stuff all day long. I wanted to be like Ray a little bit.
I did. I looked at him, and he had two. Of course, when you're 13 at this point in time, he had two of the cutest secretaries, and that was just like, wow, if I made it and I had two cute secretaries, that would be just the coolest thing ever.
Now, Rebecca, we're praying for you right now.
I have a very cute secretary. Her name's Rebecca Cross, and I'm very content with her.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. That's his wife.
Yes. So anyway, when I was younger, I just really had a passion for it, and I wanted to do that. And a friend of ours actually had 7 or 8 rentals, and he became my first mentor in life, actually. And he sort of showed me that the world wasn't flat.
Cool.
And he really took me under his arm, and I was like, hey, look, I could do yard work in the summertime, and in the wintertime, I could buy me a house every year and remodel it.
Okay.
So I went in construction trade. My dad wanted me to do the yard business, and I was like, cool. I had all my yard equipment. I was ready to start my own business when I was 19 or 18. And I went to construction trade my senior year and said, forget yards. I found my passion, and I
Cool.
love it. I really love it. But
Are you like a trim carpenter, or like what's your passion for on construction side? Do you like the GC side or specific style, or
when
not
I
style or job?
first started, I was anything I could get my hands in. I mean, if you could do it, I mean, I could get my hands in it. First thing I did was hire a guy who was really gray, and he taught me everything that he knew. And so I was running the company. I had no experience whatsoever, and I would ask him what to do, and I was his errand boy.
Okay, so you were bidding the job out.
Yeah.
You landed the job.
Yep.
And then you kind of slide subbed it out to your worker.
Yes.
But he was the lead. Smart.
He was the
You're
lead.
very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
by the third job, he was my guy. He was working for me. I knew what I was doing by the third job.
So this is at 19.
This was actually at 20. I went to work for a framing company. I broke my ankle, and then I broke my wrist in a year and a half working for this framing company. And I realized that there wasn't a long-term...
Sure, if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Yeah, you don't work... Well, we had workman's comp, and that's actually how I got started. Was I had a side job that I was working for somebody, and I couldn't do it. So I had to hire somebody. And I was on crutches getting materials, and all I could do was go get materials. So I hired this guy for $10 an hour. He seemed to know what he was doing, and we've been full steam ever since.
Is he working for you now?
No.
Okay.
No.
You go through guys like
And go through guys. He stayed with me about 2.5, 3 years.
Cool.
Then he broke up with his girl and, drugs, and I had to let him go. And that
Drama.
was my, drama. So he went, and then I hired another guy probably a year later, and he stayed with me about 7 years. And he left, and then I've got a guy right now that's been with me for about 6 years now. So.
All right. So what type of scopes of jobs do you do now? So people just, how do they hear about you? And then, like, say someone calls you that from a referral. What's the scope of a job? Do you like a whole house or just bathrooms or any of that?
We do bathrooms, and we break down, smaller jobs. Since before I did the RIA and I started getting involved with all the real estate people, my specialty was historical homes. So we did anything with historical homes. We did the lead-based paint, and we were lead-based certified, and just refinish them back to their original beauty.
Okay.
So that's what we did for years. And then all of a sudden we started getting the RIAs and started getting around all these real estate people, and people just, please come work for me. And I was like, I'm not going to work for real estate people. And
They're cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap. They are cheap. And then I finally ran into some people that on a thing we were on, and they were like, we're not cheap, and we'll
pay you.
We'll pay you, but we want somebody. They have a full-time job and they don't have time, and this particular couple took an entire week off of work to paint one apartment and realized they have 8 more to go. And so they said, hey, you know what, we will pay you. And so I gave them a little bit of discount, and they ended up getting me involved in the real estate.
Is that how
side
you
of
got
things.
into the real estate club? Is that someone like this person that you did work for said, hey, come out, check out this real estate? How'd you get the bug of real estate investing?
Well, I was in the bug, and I've always had the bug. I mean, I actually started about 2 years before I started, I need to get educated. Backtrack. My dad decided, he saw Ray doing it, so he said, I'm going to do this too.
Cool, this is your dad.
So my dad.
Is your dad around now?
Yes, he is.
Cool.
He's still around. My dad ended up owning 9 or 10 rental properties, all cash. Was in a very great position, but his problem was he could never get a good tenant. And he was always afraid that his tenants were going to tear up his property. So at one point in time, we had 8 properties that we mowed every single week and paid utilities on with no tenants. And
so he was kind of just scared, I guess.
he was scared that somebody was going to tear him up. And he had somebody that tore him up. And he did everything you're not supposed to do. He rented to friends. He rented to family. It was a lot of bad stuff. Finally, one of his friends moved out. He's not friends with them anymore. And, of course, the guy took everything that he did, including the kitchen sink. And so he was very upset about that. So at this point in time, I was in construction. I remodeled this house for him and got ready to basically do one of my first flips. And somebody stole the AC unit. So
Dang, the condenser?
in the condenser, yeah. And it was the last straw for my dad. And he dumped all his properties. If you made him an offer of $20, he took it.
Dang,
And
why didn't he give them to you?
at the time, I wasn't. I was a kid.
And you weren't in a position?
I wasn't in a position. I was a kid. Dad, you're his kid and
True.
you don't know anything yet.
I agree with
now he comes to me about real estate. But before, I didn't know anything. I mean,
And you're still jazzed. I mean, I've known you for a couple of years, so you're still the same intensity. In real estate, people come and go like the wind.
oh, yeah.
But you stayed the course so far. I'm curious, where you're at now, but and how you got started. So you saw failure, and then that's not to dog your dad on failure, but
no, absolutely
failure
not.
is feedback. So when I say failure, folks out there, don't get all juicy on me. It's feedback. This is something that, he didn't do. Just like Rich Dad Poor Dad, his dad did a ice cream business and bought a franchise, and it wasn't for him, and he lost money. So not real estate's not for everybody. It can be if you have the right people around you.
That's it.
But so you saw firsthand success and some learning challenges, and so you kept going. So how did you get your first deal? Was there a turning point? I mean, you went to the RIA, you heard people talk about it, you went to the club meetings. I mean,
well, the whole thing was I was getting educated, and I got all this book knowledge. And so now I started just walking around a little cocky because I've read all these books, And so I was saying something to my wife one day, or actually my girlfriend at the time, and she looked at me and she said, "You know what? For a guy who talks a lot of trash, you're not doing anything."
Is that Rebecca?
Yes, yeah. She was
Little
like,
girl.
"You're not doing anything," and it was actually one of our only 2 arguments.
And
that
Rebecca's
day.
all soft and supports you, brings you food, all kinds of craziness, and she's punked you. I like it.
She's very mellow, but this time she was like, "You know what? You're not doing anything. You're running your business, and you're living basically. I would make some money." If another job came in, great, but I had money in the bank. If another job didn't come in, it really didn't matter because, I could drink.
Off the income.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard. I had $5,000 in the bank, and that was enough for 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what? So
she told me to get
motivated,
do something. And so I said, I'm going to start going to a real estate club.
Okay.
And I said, I'm just going to go. A friend of mine invited me months ago, and I went to one, and I was like, I'm just going to start getting around like-minded people because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read all Kiyosaki's books, or listened to. I'm an audio listener. What was it? Think and Grow Rich, and that was one of the big ones. Get around like-minded people. So I was like, "That's what I'm going to do." And I remember when she saw me, she was like, "Really? Okay, whatever." And so I started looking for a real estate. Oh, that was it. I said I was going to find something, and I found Armando Montiago, one of their free one-day seminars. And so I went, and my wife hates spending or losing money. So I went, and I said, if I pay, because she's my girlfriend at the time, and we've been dating for several years.
Was she at the meeting with you?
No.
Okay, you were by yourself.
So I went by myself. I was hooked. I was like flipping houses. I'm going to do real estate. Let's go. I went in there, and they were like $1,200, and you can come to a 3-day seminar. And so I was like, if I pay this $1,200, will you do it? And she was like, yeah, whatever. I called her back. I was like, I paid for the class. She was like, crap. I didn't think you were actually going to do it.
Cool.
So
she took a leap of faith.
She did, and so I paid for it, and I've gone to seminars and stuff before, so it wasn't a big deal for me. But she went and she saw it, and she saw what I can do as a contractor. She watched me remodel the house I was living in, and she said, this is something that might be this. You could do this. I could see you doing this. And I was like, awesome. So then they wanted us to sign up for the $38,000 course to get a mentor. And I looked, and that's when I first grasped the concept of, getting a mentor and getting somebody. And I was like, I'm not going to do real estate unless I get somebody that's traveled before me, because I watched my dad go through all this.
On his own, and his was trial and error.
His was trial and error.
And he was just kind of shooting from the hip.
And he asked, and sometimes I wonder why, he didn't get more, or didn't ask more questions from, Ray, his mentor, who actually we sit and talk to on a regular basis. But cool. I don't know why, but I was like, I realized that this mentorship, but a mentorship is $38,000, $40,000, and
which is outrageous. I mean, it may not be for some people out there that pay for it, and if you paid for it before, that's okay. It just $40,000 is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's a house in my world.
It's a house. That's what I was like. If I had that much, I would probably go buy a house.
That would bring me $800 a month.
Yeah,
a $40,000. Anyway,
and
so you got this mind of now you have a base that $40,000 is the price, and then you hear about a coaching program.
No, the next one was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we went to their 3-day deal.
And you paid for that one.
And we paid for, of course, that one was $200, and my wife went. And halfway through that one is when she was like, okay, I see, she got the vision.
Cool.
And she actually, because we went into mentor, she actually looked at her 401k and was going to pull it out for us. So, and granted, at the time, she wasn't my wife, she was my girlfriend. So she
got the bug.
She got the bug.
At the Rich Dad Poor Dad deal.
At the Rich Dad Poor Dad. She saw it. She saw the money. She saw where we could make it. And she's like, with your skill set, I don't see it's going to go wrong. So she actually pulled it. And thank God we did not have enough money. So
this gal, Rebecca, I need to get her on the show.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's the reason that I am successful is because the back behind scenes stuff that she does and the support that she gives.
Is everything.
She's awesome. She really is.
So cool. Keep going. I love this story. So
anyway,
you didn't pull the trigger at the Rich Dad Poor Dad, but you did.
We pulled the money. She actually pulled her money out.
Okay, but she got the money. But you didn't hire Rich Dad Poor Dad.
No, we didn't.
Okay,
and fortunately, we were like a mentor. I was like 3 days. Can in 3 days a mentor really teach you what you need to know about real estate? I've been reading books for years, and so then we were like, well, we can't afford that. And one of the things they told us to start going to the RIAs. So I Googled it and I found a local RIA, and I went and. Mark Miller actually was another guy.
He's a great investor.
He's actually, I will backtrack, he sort of helped me out in the very beginning and started getting me on my financials and started telling me some of the stuff I had to do.
Cool. I'm going to have him on the show soon.
He's awesome. And he's one of the first people that set me down and told me what a real estate was. And we didn't click as a mentorship, but he really did help me get things going. So he was in there and so the one RIAs just started their new mentorship, and so I went in there and talked to them and
signed up.
Well, we didn't sign up. We were a little leery because we were still like, what's going on? And there's 4
Is this
people.
For real?
Yeah, is it for real? And it was really reasonable. It was several $1,000s instead of $30,000.
Yeah, it's a deal.
Yeah,
10%.
10%, and they're going to spend 6 months with you. I'm like, okay, this sounds like a bunch
and probably
of
could drove and look at a house for you.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
That's one thing I love about mentorship is like you can go. I can call my mentor, hey man, I'm going to buy you lunch. Can you come look at this house because I'm about to pull the trigger?
Exactly. Cool. And what's even funnier is at Mark Miller's wedding, we were there, and our mentors, Ron and Angeline Harris, was sitting across the table from us. So I went back and I asked Mark about these people, and I said, "What are these people?" And he says, "I don't know these two. They sound like pretty good, but Ron and Angelina, they're good people, and I like them." And he's like, "I think you'd be a good fit." So cool. We had lunch with them and started a mentorship.
And that's been going on for how long now?
Do what?
How long you've been having a mentor?
We did it for a year, and then we just started back up a month ago.
Cool. So and during that process, did you get any deals?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, tell me about your first deal, or keep continuing.
We started off, he gave us a couple books, and at the same time we were getting married, and I was moving to Moore. So all this sort of was happening at the same time, so we actually took a month of mentorship, took a month off. And at that time, he had given us Vina Jones-Cox, Real Estate Goddesses Guide.
Bomb. She's speaking in November in Cincinnati at the Real Estate Summit. I'll be there.
Oh, cool!
I'm already there.
Oh, cool! Well, we're going together then.
All right. It's called the Real Estate National Summit.
She's awesome.
Just Google up the Real Estate Summit or Ohio Real Estate RIA.
And look on her Facebook page. She's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
too.
she's bomb.
Her book was awesome. So anyway, I got the book. I read through it, and I was halfway through it. And right as we were moving, the tornado hit Moore, and it actually came about 6 blocks from our house.
And this is just recently,
this is 2 years ago.
Okay.
So this is we started actually 2 years ago. We got married. Started the roller coaster of real estate as we got married. So I'm sitting there on my couch, and my my daughter's ex-mother-in-law, anyway, walks in the door, and I'm reading this book, and she starts talking like a motivated seller. And she says, I can't stand this house. I don't ever want to go there. We're going to bulldoze it if I ever want to see it again. And this is really awful. The kids that died were right down the street from her. So it was really tragic. But she came out and she was like, I just don't ever want to go back to this house. And so I'm
Makes
laying
sense.
there. Yeah, and I don't blame her. And insurance had paid her tremendously well on it. And so she was like, we're going to bulldoze and it's over with. And I didn't have the nerve to jump up right then and say, can I go look at it? But as soon as
I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Andrew buys houses.
That's right. So as soon as she left, I looked at my wife and I said, motivated seller. And she was like, that's awful. And she goes, it's been hit by the tornado, dear. We're not doing that. And I said, I want to go look at it. I was like, they're arresting people left and right. All I need is verbal permission and I can go look at it. I said, get me verbal permission. And she called her and she goes, yeah, you can go look at it. We're not responsible if it falls on your head or anything. And I get over there and I'm like, there's over half a house here. I was a framer for 2.5 years. And as soon as I got out of high school, I went to work for a framer, broke 2 bones, quit that and did something else. So I was a framer and I looked at it, I was like, we're talking 15 rafters, some decking, and this house is ready. The roof is ready to go. The structure, the walls were in good shape. I'm like, we're talking like $10,000 to get this house back in not
covered.
Covered. It's dried in, another $20,000 worth of sheetrock and stuff, and I'm thinking $35,000, and this thing could be going back up, and it's $100,000 and something home. I think it was $130,000.
Cool.
home.
That was the ARV.
ARV.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, how did it? So now you're nervous. Now you know it's not as she thinks. This seller thinks it's
Bulldoze.
a disaster. Like it's worth $5.
I called everybody. I called all my construction buddies. I bet you we were over there more than FEMA. I guarantee you we were over there every day. I brought my mentors over there. I brought anybody that I knew in real estate. I brought them over there. And this is before I got under contract. So
Smart, man.
I had no idea. And
That's
so
awesome.
one of the guys looked at me and says, offer him lot price. And I said, well.
Yeah, what's lot price?
It's right there on county assessor. How about that?
Okay.
So I looked on there, and it was $10,500. And I said, well, you're going to bulldoze it. And so he didn't think it was worth anything. So I said, well, I'll give you what lot price for it. And all of a sudden now the house is worth something, and
10,000 in essence.
10,000
right?
is what I offered him, and I think he came back with something. I forget what he came back with.
So, but you bought it.
We've got it under contract, and
Okay.
I'm going to rehab it because I'm not doing wholesaling. I didn't join mentoring to do wholesaling. We went to one RIA meeting, and Wasan was there, and he told us what wholesaling was, which is so funny. My wife and I were talking 2 years ago. We're asking what wholesaling is, and now we're doing
it.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like,
So okay, so you bought the deal.
we
so
got it
then
under
what?
contract.
Got it under contract.
Got it under contract. I'm going to go look for funding. I've got my guys over there. It's our deal. This is my first rental, and we're going to start building some wealth.
Awesome.
He says, wholesale it. I said, well, if I'm going to
Who,
wholesale.
oh, your mentor says
My
wholesale?
mentor.
Okay.
And he says, basically, you need to wholesale this, and you need to get out of it, and you need to go get something else.
What was his reasoning? Why?
Well, one reason is he said I'd be spending our entire mentorship rehabbing a house, which I already knew how to do. And two, there's more deals to be had. And if I did this deal, I wouldn't be looking for the next deal. So he said, make the quick cash, get some cash in your pocket, because we were broke.
Yeah.
I mean, we
well,
spent,
you're married. Just got married.
We just got married. The money that we had, we spent for the mentorship and some marketing.
Cool.
And I'm literally like $75 in my account, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get a loan on this house. I had no idea how it worked. And,
That's awesome.
I'm like,
That's
hey,
how I got in.
Somebody's gonna give me some money.
I'm just going to go do it.
I'm just gonna do it. They told me I could do it, and so at this point in time, I didn't believe them, but I was like, I paid this money, so I better at least do what they told me.
I better
to
get
do.
a return for this mentorship.
Exactly. So they told me at this point in time I could do a wholesale deal, which I didn't know was possible. So then they told me I could go get money. Shoot, at this point in time, nothing's impossible.
All right, so what'd you do with it?
I wholesaled that sucker and made a ton.
Like over 10?
I made enough. I made a lot. I made really good.
Okay, great.
Enough that I said, hell yeah. And,
All right, that's awesome.
I spent...
Did you do any work on it? No? You just flipped?
Yes, we actually tarped it because it was still going through the process and it was missing half a roof. So we tarped it and cleaned all the trash, which the city was hauling everything off. So we literally just threw everything to the street and cleaned it out, made it look real good and real nice. And I figured I had to do that anyway. The city was picking it up for free, and I was going to keep it, remember? So I cleaned it up and got ready for that and for myself. And then they told me to wholesale it. So I was like, okay.
So then you wholesaled it to another investor?
Yep.
And then what did that investor do to it?
He rehabbed it and flipped it and made, I think, over $30,000.
On top of your excellent profit.
On top of my
What a
excellent
great deal.
profit.
So
Yeah.
I know one thing I've heard you say. You had a big, giant banner. You were so zealous about marketing.
Absolutely.
And you put a 10-foot by 30-foot or like a 5-foot by 30-foot banner.
3 by 25 foot.
And
It
it
said,
said-
don't knock your house down. Call us. We buy homes. And it had a picture of a bulldozer and a house and on both sides of it.
And did you get any calls?
Yeah, I actually got a deal out of that. We got an empty lot, actually. It said we buy homes and lots because a lot of people are like...
Assumed it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And that's where we were getting our really good deals from as we go over there and people would be like, the insurance said it was totaled. Well, insurance idea of total and mine are two totally different ideas.
If it's got brick, we can still roll.
That's it. No, we don't need a brick.
We can frame that deal up.
I don't need brick as long as there's half. Because after that, then you have to get a new construction permit. So it starts getting into that. If you got half a house, a structure with half a house, then you don't have to go in and go jack up all the plumbing, and there's a lot of other things that you don't have to do. But once you hit that 49, 51% mark, then you got to start doing a lot of stuff. So
All right, so you got that deal. Your very first deal was a wholesale deal.
yes.
Okay, and then you found another lot deal. Did you sell that lot?
Oh yeah, we actually sold that to Habitat for Humanity and made about $3,000.
That's not bad.
No,
Just for a transaction?
no, we did 9 houses through there, 9 deals.
Dang. So within 2 years, you did 9 houses?
We did 1 a month for our first 6 months.
Dude, that's the title is 9 houses in the first 6 months.
Yeah,
is that right?
Or it was about 10 months.
So 6 houses in 10 months.
Yeah, we had a deal going at all times for those next couple months. And
So
then,
that's why you love your mentor, because you must have been blowing them up like crazy.
and I was killing it. I was crushing everyone. Because there were so many houses and so many deals out there. So we were sending direct mail, handwritten direct mail. At the time, I had no idea how to do it, so I had my crew there, and this girl, one of the guy's wives was there, girlfriend, whatever you want to call them. She was there, and the other guy's girlfriend was there, and I said, man, I need somebody to do a spreadsheet, and she was hauling trash out of one of the houses. She goes, I can do it. Take me to the office right now. And she was like, I'll work for $10 an hour and do spreadsheets.
Sweet.
So I trained her how to look up stuff on the county assessor, and I showed them what I was doing. And next thing I know, she started pumping out, addresses. So I went out driving for dollars for 2 hours, run back to the office, my house, and of course that's another story.
And then this whole time, your wife, who got in last minute or believed in you,
Yep.
just got married, threw down all the cash for a mentorship. She's working a day job.
Yep,
She has a real job. She's an HR girl,
HR, yep.
and you're out here. And some people would say play, but you're out here busting balls, trying to find deals. What was going through your mind? Like, was this surreal? Like,
I couldn't believe it.
What's going through? Like, were you scared? You're doing a house a month now. You're wholesaling. This is your first transactions. What else was going through your mind?
I was terrified at first, but then they were saying keep wholesaling. So, at first I was terrified. By the third one, it becomes, here's
Natural.
the deal. Yeah, it just becomes part of it. But at first, I was driving for dollars 8 hours a day, and I had 2 girls that were doing our letters, and then I had my crew, and every dime that Andrews Construction made went into marketing.
I do the same thing.
Everything went into marketing.
Everything
I was out
I do.
hustling jobs and dumping.
No, I don't put it in marketing. I put it in houses. But I agree. Every dollar I make on my other job or my other business or any source of income that I get outside of real estate, I put it right back in there.
Yeah.
All right. So now, recently you just got your first hold, right? Is that true? Or
No.
how many holds do you have now?
We did 9 houses, and the last one I couldn't wholesale for what I wanted. And I'm like, look, this is a deal.
It's in Moore?
It's in Moore.
Okay.
Yeah. It was it's 616 South Avery. We bought it, or we got it under contract, and I couldn't get it closed. And I thought it was because of the deal, and I found it's because during Christmas. And
What do you mean you couldn't get it closed?
I couldn't find a buyer.
Oh, you're trying to flip it to somebody.
I'm trying to wholesale.
During
I'm wholesaling.
December.
I'm wholesaling.
Okay, so you got it under
wholesaling,
contract.
wholesaling. Yeah.
And you're trying to dump it. And
And right at this point in time, our bank account is looking really good, and I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go buy. You know,
So you closed it yourself.
Do I?
So you closed the deal yourself.
No, we didn't have enough money.
Your bank account's doing good, but you have no money.
Well, this is a
I'm just teasing.
$160,000 home, so it's a big house.
What was your intention? Are you going to try to hold it?
My whole thing was do wholesaling until we get enough money, and then we're going to go buy rentals.
Okay, so now you couldn't flip it.
Couldn't flip
It's
it.
December, and it's cold. So then what'd you do?
I said, well, if nobody's going to give me the money, I'm going to buy it. And my mentors they'd already looked at it, and they'd given me a price that they would have got for it.
Oh, of course they would.
Yeah, of course. I actually wholesaled my third deal to them. They were
That's
looking
cool.
for a flip, and I looked at them, and we negotiated back and forth, and it's real tight because I already had another offer, and I was like, hey, look, I love you guys, but not that much.
I already pay you. You should be giving me
That's right.
like a discount on coaching. Okay, cool.
So they bought that one. It was still a great deal because, that deal I wholesaled to them paid for my next 6 months of mentorship with them. So, anyway.
I love that.
But, so I couldn't get this deal closed, and I kept looking. I was like, man, if nobody's going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I said, and they looked at it and said, well, it's your deal. Go do it. And as soon as they said...
So you grew some balls and tried to get money.
Yeah, well, as soon as they told me, at this point in time, I listened to my mentor.
Okay.
They say jump, I say how high and what's the angle I'm supposed to jump, and here's my letters that we're sending out, what's wrong with them, and
why I'm not getting more calls.
Why am I not getting more calls? I was getting plenty of phone calls, because I listened to my mentor.
Right on.
I found out that why
works.
am I paying them? Why would you pay a mentor? Why would I pay you to tell me what to do and then not do it?
Yeah, that's how I roll. I get results. I mean, when people pay me, it's like, don't pay me unless we get results.
Exactly.
All right, so then what? I'm anticipating. Come on, man, taking too much time
go.
here.
He said go, so I went, and I realized that I wasn't in the best position. I had to borrow some money, and so I started making phone calls, and I started following. During this 9 months, 10 months, I've accumulated about 60 bankers' names, and I'm said, okay, I'm calling all 60 until one of these cats give me some money. And somebody's going to give me some money.
Cool.
So I called the first one. He was like, no way, no how. You have no assets. You have no credit. Also remember, at Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I had 0 credit, and they all told me to go max out my credit card. And that was a $500 credit card at that point in time. So
and you dumped your 401k.
Yes.
Or Rebecca's.
Rebecca's. So, I had no credit. I was on a cash basis up to this. So I had no credit.
That's fine.
Nothing. So I started making phone calls. The first 3 banks told me, no way, no way, no way. I told Jim Kruger with Kruger Investments, and he said, hey, we like you. We like that. And I said,
and this is a hard money lender.
This is a hard money lender.
Okay.
12% interest on a 10-year fixed. And I said, I've got this deal. He looks at it, and I told him I needed the purchase money, and I had the rehab money, but I had to have him to do it.
To close it. What was the margins? Like, it was a $160,000 house. What'd you get under contract for?
I think we had it like $60,000. So
okay, cool. So there's a lot of room there.
There was a whole lot of room, but there's a lot of rehab. I mean, roof, everything needed to be done. It was hit by a tornado.
So it was like a $40,000 rehab?
Over that.
Okay.
Over that.
So 50, let's say. We need
50,
some concrete numbers
50,
here, Andrew.
50,
no elusive
if I did
numbers.
It for you, how about that?
For me, it's 25.
I did it for you. I got to charge contract fee. So anyway,
I'll jump on the deal.
I did sweat labor on that one. So
let's just say, worst case scenario, if you get a bum leg again, it would be 50 on the rehab, 60 on the thing. So you got 110. So you're way below, almost 70% or somewhere around there. Okay.
So we get the deal, and he won't give us enough money.
He won't give you enough to close it?
He won't give us enough to close. He's $10,000 below what we
what?
offered.
So you called, okay, let's punk this dude. So you call this guy up, hey, I like you, I want to do business with you. He's at every RIA. He's trying to loan money out as much as possible. Gangster. And you fill out all this docs. You do the whole deal.
Yes.
And then
he looks at the deal.
And he goes, oh, man, it's 160. I'm only asking for what, 70, 65?
No, I wanted just the purchase price.
So 60.
And,
some change. And then what happened?
He said no. He would only give me I don't remember the exact number,
like
but it's $10,000 less than I needed.
So how'd you respond?
Oh shit! I mean, I didn't know what to do, and so I went back to my mentor and I said, "What do I do?" He says, "Well, try renegotiate with the buyer or the seller." And so I did, and they dropped the price to $10,000. And so
those people, no wonder you love.
Yes,
let's just throw their name out there.
Ron and Angelina Harris. Yeah. I love them. They do.
Good job,
they've done me
coaches.
really good over the years.
That's how I roll. I love it. I helped a student save $10,000. They love me.
No, absolutely.
Same situation. I was like, stick with your price. In this case, it was stick with your price or offer 10 less, and they got it.
Actually, I take that back. We were getting 10,000 back. We were trying to get the purchase price plus $10,000 to buy the property. So I went back to him and I said, okay, well, I got the price lowered. And he was like, whoa, let's talk about that. I was like, no, either do this, I said, or I'm wholesaling it tomorrow. And he wrote me a check. So
I don't know anything about, I don't want to get into that, but that sounds kind of stressful to me.
Oh, it was totally
someone's
stressful.
Promised me something, and maybe I should get him on the show.
In his defense, he's had so many people that are new investors come over there and start projects. And this is a $40,000 rehab. He doesn't know me.
Right.
He calls me now.
Did you have $40,000 in the bank, or you slow rolled them? You said you were going to put your own money in.
Yeah, I had some of my own money, but
not 40 or 50.
I didn't have enough. So.
Did you have like 10, 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had about 20,000, and we needed 30,000.
All right. So then you got that deal closed. So is your first hold? Is this still a hold today?
Until 6 months ago, yeah.
And then you sold it? You flipped it to like a retail?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And you cashed out and paid that dude back. How long did you hold it for?
9 months. It was a year and 2 months. We rented it for 9 months.
Okay, so you rented it, and then was it occupied when you sold it?
No. Our tenants decided to do on Easter weekend. They decided to move out and didn't tell us, and so we go over there, saw it, and it was the absolute worst house to rent. The bathrooms were upstairs, and it was 5-bedroom, 3,200 square feet. It's a huge house.
That's a deal at 160.
Oh yeah,
and more.
And so, guess what? Somebody bought it.
Yeah, for sure. And did you use a realtor? Or
yes, absolutely. We used Yolanda, and she got it on there. It sold in 5
Cool. And you still made money after you paid them a percentage?
Heck yeah.
Okay, great, man. Congratulations.
We actually.
And this is all within 2 years. I don't even know how I'm going to write this description. I'm buzzing with questions. So you got that deal done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were a little nervous because you couldn't get the financing. Then you got the financing.
Yep.
Did you have any construction issues, or was that pretty smooth?
Oh yeah, we had all kinds of construction issues. I've never done a tornado house to this extent. I get to learn about gas, and ended up being a whole bunch of gas issues, and there was about 8 or 9 other problems. But fortunately, I am a contractor, and I was there every day, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But it did run over $5,000 in my cost, and then at the very end of the job, the AC unit went out.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and my AC guy was like, there's no point in fixing it, you need a new condenser, and I was broke, so I had to go wholesale. I went over there, put on my wholesaling hat, ran over there, made a wholesale deal, got it done, gave the AC guy his money, and got a new AC unit, and got a tenant in there, so.
All right, we got about 5 more minutes left, so we're going to kind of talk about some mistakes that you've learned from, or things that you would do over again.
I wouldn't make people hold to their contracts. I mean, when I'm doing wholesale deals, I'm going to
talking about to the investor.
To me, when I sign a contract with them, I'm much more to the point. No, this is what you signed. This is what you're going to do. And I lost out on what was supposed to be our first potential rental. If I hear somebody being dishonest to anyone, who am I? They're going to screw me over too.
Sure.
And so that's something. This particular guy was being dishonest with the insurance company, told me about it.
Oh, when you were trying to buy it?
When I was trying to buy it, I got it under contract, and anyway, the deal didn't go through, and it was totally my fault. I learned a lot out of that.
And he was trying to make a claim on the property?
He made a claim, and he was trying to sell it, and he ended up waiting until somebody gave him more money, is what happened.
Oh, someone snuck in on
him.
Do you know that person that snuck in?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know.
No, not that we would say their name, but just... that was one thing. I mean, we make the radio show all cool and everything, but there's some gangster things that go on out there. Just like that financing thing that really frustrates me. Mm-hmm. Just, you think you got this deal, you don't wholesale it. Your life's in, I'm going to hold this deal, or flip it, after you retail it. And the guy says no. And then you're like, what? You're SOL. Like, you're going to go borrow money from your dad. I mean, what are you going to do? And then you see it falling in front of you. And by the grace, it worked out. Your mentor push you to be bold and get that money. That's awesome. Any advice would you give for someone that's new? So you've taken a roller coaster. You started out wholesaling, and then now are you still wholesaling? Yes. And well, what advice would you give? Do you like this way of doing it, that you started out this way?
Yes, absolutely. I think everybody, if you're brand new and you've never done a deal, you need to wholesale at least one. Just because you can get somebody like Steven in here and he's going to look at it and he's going to either buy it and you know that you got a good deal, because if he's going to buy it, then you had a good deal. I see so many times people go in there, go buy these deals, and I'll be like, this is not a deal. It's not a deal at all. And then you're going to get that great deal. You're going to say, hey, I got this great deal. Steven, come on over here, look at it. And you're going to look at it and you say, okay, look.
This is my 3rd time over here.
Or you just look at it and say, hey, buddy, did you check the plumbing? Oh, no, I didn't. Well, some copper thief's got in there and stole all the copper out of the house. Oh, okay. Did you check anything? No, you didn't. Did you check the Oh, it's got 5 years back taxes. Just the stuff that's behind real estate. Even as a contractor, I know that side of it because I've been doing it for 12 years. I have no idea on your side, the financing and all the stuff that goes behind it. I got a PhD in housing from my first, deals.
Right.
So...
it's interesting. I know an investor that bought a house and everything looked good. The power wasn't on, and all the electrical up in the attic was cut out. Mm-hmm. And this was in Moore.
Yeah.
In a great location, in one of the hottest markets in Oklahoma. And there's thieves everywhere.
Thieves everywhere. Yeah.
All right. So let's just walk us through a day now. So are you trying to buy houses now as a wholesaler and flip them? Are you I know you even have a wholesale meetup. Like, what's your direction? What's your goal? You got 3 hats. You're holding real estate, or trying to. Mm-hmm. You're flipping houses occasionally, mm-hmm. and you run a successful construction company.
And a wholesale deal every now and there too.
So which one do you want to pursue the most?
Real estate. That's where I want to be. That's where the long-term wealth is. I mean, the whole reason I started my construction company is so that I could do my own deals. I mean, so I could learn this side of the business. So, no, I am definitely moving towards the wholesaling. I'm working towards, since I got the mentorship and started running my business like a business. And, so now my business, I'm sitting here with you. I've got 2 projects going on right now.
That's awesome.
And,
With guys working.
Guys are working.
So you're a real entrepreneur right now.
That's right.
As of today.
Until
you pick up that hammer and start hitting nails.
That's it. I've got a hammer in my truck, but my guys keep taking it, and so I don't,
awesome.
All
right. So right now, let's just recap, though. So your main goal is to build wealth, to get that dream of being a millionaire, which I know you will, Andrew, and I'm stoked on that. I can tell it. You will not. I can't wait to interview you again in a couple years from now. And next time we're going to have both of you on here.
Awesome.
So we got to have Rebecca. We got to hear her side. Your main goal is to buy houses and hold them as best you can, build relationships with banks, because I know you're doing that right now, apparently. And then you wholesale, because you keep that machine running. If it pops you some deals your own, you'll keep them, or you'll get some ready cash. And then you'll just continue doing your day job as a construction. Mm-hmm. Okay. So talk a little bit about the construction and then tell people who you are. How to get a hold of you, and then we'll wrap the show up. But so what is Andrew's construction and remodeling? Do you build houses too?
No, we do not do any new construction. We're only do remodels. And I'm really liking the houses under 1,200 square feet just because I can knock them in and out, and we're in a week or two. So that's what I really like. We do painting, remodeling. We do a little bit of everything: bathrooms, kitchens. We sub out a lot of stuff. This year we've actually got started roofing, which something I've never done, and we've done 6-7 roofs already. We're really kicking butt.
What do you charge for tear off and put back on?
More than you will pay.
Okay. Well, throw out a number there so people know.
We do insurance claims.
Okay.
We're doing insurance claims.
There you go.
We're working more towards
was that
the
$85?
Yeah, it's way more than that, Bubba.
All right. Wow.
$68 a square, I think, last time I looked. So.
All right. So then, okay. Do you work for investors now? Do you have a lot of investors? What's the percentage?
I'm almost 80% investor right now. I've got about 5 that I work for. I'm quick to fire them because there's so many investors out there that I can work with. Why should I work with a difficult one?
Sure. And difficult, like the way they talk to you, or the pay, or how does that work?
Well, with their expectations. If you expect this thing to look great, expect to pay for it.
Sure.
And the biggest thing is, in contracting, is the breakdown of your slap a coat of paint on it and my idea of slap a coat of paint on it. And then when I tell my guys to slap a coat of paint on it, there's 3 different translations.
And it's called primer.
Yeah. Well,
some investors don't use primer.
Some people don't. And some people are like, hey, I need the city off of me. Shoot it. I don't care if you mask the windows. And so that's a lot of stuff.
I have that problem right now.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that.
That's what I do. Sorry.
No.
I'm hiring a guy right now. Go spray the dang thing.
Just go spray it.
I'm done with the city calling me. This Midwest City is gangster right now. They're popping me.
That's what they tell you. That's what I hear.
Not Del City. I'm saying Midwest City. Mm-hmm. They have a new code enforcer out there. Any landlords out there in Midwest City, they're getting out of their vehicle, which is rare because a lot of them like donuts and sit in their car all day. But a lot of these guys are jumping out, walking around structures, and for some reason they like my structures, and they're pointing out to rotted wood and scraping paint. Things that need to be scraped. This is like my 4th house in Midwest City.
Man,
I just got another notice. So anyway, we love you, Midwest City. So we walk through your day. So walk us through a day. When you wake up, is it like, okay, I got to line these guys out?
I wake up between 4 and 5 every morning.
Okay.
I get up and I read. That's my daily deal. I read my Bible every day.
Cool.
And I start off with that. Start off with a little devotion time. I've got a few little books that I read. I'm actually reading the Slight Edge right now.
Nice.
So yeah,
I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. I got that out somebody's back of somebody's truck somewhere.
That's my truck. I'm giving out books for $1 or free, whatever.
Anyway, so I'm reading that book right now. There's a couple books that I read, so I spend about 30 minutes. Then I start tackling my one thing, whatever that is for the day, usually my real estate, and then I'm trying to get out of the house by 9 or 10 to start dealing with construction stuff. So,
you guys are already on job sites already?
Yeah, my guys are already on job sites.
So you line them out like the beginning of the week or the night before, or how do you line them out?
We're doing bigger projects now, so they pretty much know you're doing it from the next day. We do some smaller projects, but we're doing complete house remodels right now. So cool. We've got 2 projects right now that will be there for a week and a half each. So they pretty much know what needs to go down from day to day, and they pretty much pick up where they left off. So
awesome.
Like I said,
what a great crew.
I've got 3 great guys right now that are just making my
Killing
life
it.
great.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, it has been a pleasure. You are a great guy to hang out with and talk to. And one thing about Andrew that I really wanted to get on the show is that he is such a helping hand. He's enlisted help from people, and he loves to share help. I mean, the guy went out of his way to answer my call at least 3 or 4 times about Sherwin-Williams and paint and which quality of paint. What do you put on your walls? What do you put on your high-end homes? And he was real quick just to help me, and I really appreciate that. Anytime this guy calls me, I take his call. I haven't had the pleasure of hiring Andrew yet because I kind of run my own crews, but one day I definitely give your number out all the time. I know several of my friends have used you, and
Appreciate
I
that.
believe that you are integrity, and that's a good thing to have in real estate. And I know you're going to go far. What is a phone number or a website? I know you have 2. You're a wholesaler. What's your wholesaler information?
My wholesaler information, and you guys can just 405-309-2077, and that's my wholesaling number, and it's forwards to my cell phone. So
Okay, how about do you have a website?
Yep, it is. I just got it set up yesterday. I'm doing pretty good.
Nice.
AndrewBuysHomes.com.
Andrew, is it S plural or just Andrew?
Andrew Buys.
Andrew Buys. So Andrew is by itself, Buys is plural, Buys Homes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you have
Join our meetup.
Andrew Construction Remodel. Is that a different phone number as well?
Just call me at that one.
Okay, what's your number one more time?
309-2077.
405.
309-2077.
There's a lot of out-of-state investors that listen to this that actually even own homes in Oklahoma City.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And properties. Anyway, well, we'll just wrap this show up. Andrew, it's been a pleasure to know you and get to know you even more. You really need today to go buy your wife some balloons and say, we are doing it because of you. And love on her.
House.
Yeah. But no, write her a card. Tell her that you love her. She's going to hear this deal and she's going to be all excited. But now I called it out. She's going to listen to it today. You need to show up. Now, I don't know when it's going to hit iTunes, but whenever it does, you need to be prepared if it wasn't for you, and it will give you some brownie points for life, and that's the goal.
She knows it's all her. I mean, she does all my build-in. She does all the computer
Awesome.
stuff. I mean, she's the heartbeat behind the business.
Awesome.
So.
All right. Well, anyway, savvy investors out there, if you want to get to know Andrew even more, you can text in at text the word ASK, A-S-K, to 545454, and I'll forward it to Andrew. And if you have a specific burning question in your heart and you want us to cover it, or an investor you want me to touch base and reach out to and have on the show, I will. We have more radio show episodes. Go to SavvyRadioshow.com. That was my remix there. Anyway, but it didn't work. But it's SavvyRadioshow.com. Thank you and have a great day, and go buy assets.